we did hear about people, we heard about people going from one bar to the other and cheering, right? We heard about people moving into the neighborhood. We heard about all that, but did we hear about people whose families have lived in Over-the-Rhine for years, people that grew up there, people that have called that home for somewhere longer than 2 years? Did we hear about any of that? I would say no, or very little. We need to do a little bit of history. 3CDC. 3CDC has been around since 2003. They are the current major gentrifier in the city. They are not the only one, and will not be the only one. Others have come before them, and when they go away, others will try to. They were created in 2003 by a partnership between Mayor Lucan and local corporations. Please keep in mind that our city has one of the greatest concentration of Fortune 500 companies, yet we are one of the poorest cities in the country. Right? We got lots of money, but we're really poor. So, these corporations that have been clearly hoarding lots of our money for a long time, along with the elected politicians, formed a nonprofit organization called 3CDC. They did away with much of the development, the economic development portions of the city, and they privatized it in the form of this private organization. Go on 3cdc.org, pull up who are their board of directors. It's all the white male, predominantly heads, of these companies. Men that make $23 million a year, $13 million a year, $15 million a year, and they sit on the board of a supposed nonprofit organization that takes people's homes, and not figuratively but literally. I can give you numerous examples, but I'll give you just a few. If you have ever driven south on Ray Street, hopefully you're going south, it's the only way you can go on Ray Street. But if you were driving south on Ray Street, you would notice from 14th to 15th, or rather 15th to 14th, on the eastern side of the street, there's now what is a colorful, paint-wise block. Looks like it's being redone. Some people might say there's a renaissance on that block. It's all predominantly vacant, other than 3CDC's office. But if you go back maybe just 5.5 years, there were people living there. Again, not figurative people, real people. There were kids running up and down the sidewalk playing. There were moms, there were dads, there were single people. There were people there. And guess what? Every last one of them got removed. And it wasn't because one day they suddenly had an epiphany and they said, we don't like our block, we want to leave. It was because they were told they had to leave. If you go one block south of there, remember we're still traveling south, if you go one block south, 1316/18 Race is a double-wide building. In 2006, 33 people lived in that building. The units in that building were called single-room occupancy, something that we had en masse in this country years ago. 33 people. 33 people that paid their rent on time, didn't play their music too loud, cordial to their neighbors, probably most of the time. 33 people. In 2006, 3CDC purchased that building. They again forced all 33 people out. Now keep in mind that I already explained that 3CDC replaced a portion of our central government. So, first you have to ask the question, how did they get to the point of buying the building and forcing the people out? Didn't somebody else own the building first? Well, they went to the private landlord, the private owner that owned the building then, and this is the normal trend. They've done this in other buildings. They say, hey, the facade of your building doesn't look so great, the hallways are a little tattered, we'll buy your building from you, we'll give you a profit for it. So for some landowners, for some building owners, eyes get big, this is good, these folks are going to help me. And then they say, well, we've only got one catch. Every person that lives in the building, you just got to get them out first. If you get them out, then we'll buy your building. So then you say, well, how do you get good tenants out of your building? There's a couple of ways. You can put the rent beyond what they can pay. You just jack the rent up. They don't pay it. You evict them for non-payment of rent. It goes through the Hamilton County court system. You can also pass out letters that say something like, hey, in 30 days we're going to shut down the building because the heating system's not good, we need new piping, whatever. You make up a lot of things. You say you need to get out. Some people get scared, they leave right then. Other people will hang out till eviction, but you get everybody out and it passes. 3CDC comes in, they buy the building. Folks like us came and say, hey, why'd you kick 33 people out? Once we find out that they did it, because again, they're no longer the government, so we don't have oversight in the beginning. We just see folks' stuff on the sidewalk, right? Because two private companies went behind a door and made a decision. So we say, well, why'd you kick 33 people out? They say, we didn't kick 33 people out, it was that guy over there. What are you talking about? He didn't want in the land-owned business anymore. He didn't want to be a manager anymore. So 33 people, 13, 16, 18 race, you should go look at the building sometime. 33 people. Later, the coalition found some of those people that were housed living literally on our riverbank. Homeless. Were housed, now they're homeless. We made a media stink about it. We went to 3CDC, we said, well, what are you going to do? You made these folks homeless. You know what they said? They said, we will pay them $70 to get their lives back together. That was their answer. That's how we're going to fix it. We are in a neighborhood, when I think of Over-the-Rhine, I think of people. I think of strength. Over-the-Rhine is a place for years where folks have been told, don't drive through there. If you have to drive through, lock your doors, don't look side to side, just keep going. And because many of us did not go to Over-the-Rhine for years, we didn't meet all the people that lived there. And so then a company like 3CDC, backed by the city, by the way, they are probably one of our most subsidized entities in this city, they can remove folks and everybody else doesn't know it's happened or ignores it. They can say, look at this place, it's dirty, it's run down, we're cleaning it up. We're going to make it better. We're going to create economic base. It'll be better for everybody. They do things like the Metropole, 230 units of affordable housing, 208 people removed from the central business district. They say, well, we're going to get them to nice places, without ever saying none of the people want to go. This was not their decision, it was ours. We believe that affordable housing is a necessity. We believe that it must exist. It is not okay for a company to come in, no matter how progressive they look. 3CDC is an organization that looks very progressive. They look colorful, they look hip, and it's a smokescreen. Why on council do both the conservatives and the liberals love them? Why do they all love them? Because it's a smokescreen. Because there are other things going on behind the doors. If you go to 14th and Race, look, there are two portalettes. When they tore down the public restroom in Washington Park, we said, people need a place to go to the bathroom. It took us an entire year, 365 days, to finally get two portalettes at that corner. And how did we do it? Well, eventually we went to some of those businesses and we said, you know what? We hear all the time about how folks are defecating in front of your buildings and you don't like it. Well, what do you think is going to happen if there's no bathroom? And so you ask, well, a group like 3CDC that developed these businesses, why would they not put up a bathroom? Right? Why would they tear down one and not put one up, knowing that it will hurt the businesses they put in place? And it's because of a thing called self-fulfilling prophecy. If they tear down a bathroom, and then suddenly we are forced to go to use the restroom in a place that is not dignified, in a place where other people have to step over and complain about it, what do they get to say? They get to say, look at these dirty people. We need to clean them out. That's what they get to say. When one little misnomer that we're going to undo too. This morning Roxanne said over the past number of years that 54% of the money that's gone into Over-the-Rhine has been spent on affordable housing. What she did not say is that most of that money was spent on affordable housing that already existed and in many cases actually depleted the number of units. So yes, they might have developed X number of units, but it was less than the units that existed before. That's what was not said. And what you need to remember is often there are many things that aren't said. I've passed out 3 handouts. One is called the People's Platform for Equality and Justice. It's 10 points that we believe we should follow. The next is things that 3CDC does not want you to know about.